ESBR boxing. I'm joined by Elliot Grigg, which means we are, of course, in preview mode. A huge fight between the two Davids on Saturday, 1st of February at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. Same card as Brandon Figueroa, Stephen Fulton too, and this is another cracking fight. We are, of course, talking about David Benavidez against David Morrell. Undefeated against undefeated, both up at light heavyweight now, having both campaigned at super middleweight for the majority of their careers. Before we get into it, though, please do hit that subscribe button. All of your boxing needs under one roof with ESBR, so please do check out the channel. And yeah, let us know in the comments as well. What your thoughts on what we're about to discuss, and your general feedback, so we can refine our content going forward. Elliot, this is a great fight, but before we kind of come on to this fight in particular, I do want to ask you a couple of questions about David Benavidez, who I think maybe people are seen as the A side in this fight, the bigger name, favorite probably. A lot of talk about him at super middleweight at some stage, potentially fighting Canelo Alvarez. Now up at light heavyweight, could he fight someone like BETERBIEV Bivol? My question for you is, mate, does David Benavidez beat Canelo at super middleweight, and does he beat ARTUR BETERBIEV at light heavyweight?
Oh, well, first of all, Paul, thank you for that very eloquent introduction and breakdown. I think, oh wow, you've come straight in. You like Benavidez yourself, man. You're on the front foot and you're pushing the action. I think, to answer your question, do I think he? Well, let's take the Canelo. Do I think he beats Canelo? I mean, it's hard to say definitive. Yes, I think he beats Canelo, but I do. I actually would arguably make him favourite in that fight now. I really would. I don't think Canelo wants it. I think he's a big fighter. Benavidez, obviously, he's kind of not something Canelo needs at this stage of his career. I think we've seen Canelo sort of, obviously lose a little bit. Obviously, a very, very successful fighter. A lot of miles on the clock, though. You look at someone like Benavidez, big, tall, hungry, hits hard, good boxer. I think for me, the volume puncher as well in the way puts the pressure on. Would I want to fight that if I was Canelo? No. I think the fact that Canelo hasn't made any inroads to fight him kind of shows that he doesn't want it either. So for me, I actually would probably make Benavidez a slight favourite in that fight. But Beterbiev one's so interesting for me just because how am I going to bet against Beterbiev, man? Like, how am I going to sit here and say that anyone beats Beterbiev? The guy's obviously come through Bivol. Recently, whatever people think, that was a close fight, obviously, but come through Bivol, the sort of king of the division. Battered Callum Smith, battered Anthony Yard, battered Joe Smith Jr., these sort of names. So for me to sit here and go, Benavidez beat him, I'd have to say no. But what I would caveat that with, actually, is that Beterbiev's obviously nearly 40 or 40 years old. So, Benavidez obviously isn't. He would also have, again, like, he's a big guy, isn't he, at the weight, Benavidez? Like, he's a really big man, so he actually would have the advantage in size as well. So for me, it's potentially a close fight. He'd be a credible opponent, but I can't. And then, as time goes on, maybe we'll see what happens with Beterbiev if he fights Bivol again, whether he's lost a bit with age, etc. But for me, at this point in time, I cannot go against the man. I really cannot. But it'd be a hell of a fight. And one thing I would guarantee is that it would not go 12 rounds. That fight.
Yeah, mate. Difficult questions to answer. I mean, who fights that? In theory, you think are possible, but probably unlikely. Um, yeah, it looks like Canelo's maybe going to go down the Terence Crawford route, which is a fight. I'm all for that fight. To be fair, I love Terence Crawford. Just, but he's a welterweight. He was at super lightweight before that. He's now at light middle. He's going to fight Canelo at super middle. Like, that's kind of is a lot. It's kind of the avenue Canelo seems to be going down. Doesn't seem to want any of David Benavidez. You're right. I back Benavidez to beat Canelo. I back Benavidez to stop Canelo. Um, yeah, I mean, no disrespect, Canelo's achieved what he's achieved in his career. Superb. Was a pound for pound great. Has been for the best part of a decade. But I think, as you say, he's maybe on the slide a little bit now. I don't think we'll see the fight really, but I would back Benavidez to beat Canelo. Turbiev's an interesting one because the likelihood, he's got that rematch with Bivol. If Bivol wins that, is there going to be a third one? Will he just hang up the gloves because he's going to be 40? These kind of questions need answering. So again, unlikely. Do I make David Benavidez a favourite against Beterbiev? No, I don't. Do I give him a chance? Depends how he gets on against David Morrell. He's a big lad. Obviously Beterbiev is as well. He's young, he's fresh, he's heavy-handed, but Artur Beterbiev is an animal. So yeah, I'm not going to sit here and say that I'd back Benavidez to beat Beterbiev. No, I cannot say that with any confidence. Did I see an avenue and a way in which he wins? Yes, but that's only if Beterbiev maybe gets old overnight, really, to be honest with you, mate. So yeah, intriguing ones, but I really don't think they're too probable. Looking at both of these combatants, mate, Benavidez and Morrell, both are obviously undefeated now. That won't be the case unless it's a draw after this fight. Do you think these two names could dominate at light heavyweight if you're forgetting remove Bivol from the picture? I know he's not anywhere near retiring, but remove Bivol and Beterbiev for the sake of argument. If those two fighters don't exist, do you think Benavidez and David Morrell, one of those two, could dominate the light heavyweight division for Sabi? I think you're on mute,
Sorry
mate.
to all those out there. I was on mute. I was just sharing some witticisms there, but no one unfortunately heard them. Let's see if I can recapitulate them. No, I think yes, I think they could. But to be honest with you, I also feel that there's another name that could also go into that division. I think I'll come to that in a minute. But I think if you look at the guys that are around, the supposed younger guys, obviously the British guys, obviously you've got kicking around there, Anthony Yard, Boatsi, we always talk about, don't we, and Smith. I think these two are better than those three, frankly, from the sort of British interest. I think you look at some of the other Ramirez is around there as well. I think these two are better than him. But I also think I'm going to put another name into the hat pool, and this is a guy that you like, and we've spoken about him on the channel before. I think there's a third man coming into it. I think Diego Pacheco's name's in
Yeah,
there as well. I really do. I think like it'd be interesting to see how if and when he moves up. I think this fight. I don't want to give a prediction, but it's a close fight. This it really is. I think whoever comes through this, if they come through it well, both lads got power as well. Like say one of them stops the other in sort of good fashion. You're looking at it and going, does that go down to one name and then Pacheco maybe joins that one name? I think it depends on how this fight plays out. But those are the three for me that are sort of coming through. I think when you look at the actual division itself, I don't see anyone pulling outside of those two, and obviously Pacheco coming through super middle. So yeah, those are the next ones that are going to dominate. I think for the next maybe 5 to 10 years post Bivol Beterbiev. But again, Bivol, like you say, take him out of the equation, but he's still quite young as well. He'll still be in the equation, but outside of those two names, yeah, definitely.
totally agree, mate. I think without giving my prediction away, I think Benavidez has a better chance of longevity at light heavyweight and being maybe near the top more than Morrell. That's not to say Morrell won't win this fight or won't win this fight or maybe won't hang about at light heavyweight as well and go on to win world honors. But yeah, Pacheco, I'm glad you mentioned him, mate. We talked about him in one of our previews last week or whatever. He's the real deal. He's going to move up to light heavyweight. Not anytime soon, I don't think, but he's huge. He will move up to light heavyweight. I anticipate he'll move up to cruiserweight beyond that in years to come as well. He could be a big threat at light heavy for sure as well, mate. I agree. Prediction time. How does this one go down? Battle of the Davids. Benavidez Morrell. Who wins and how, Elliot?
Yeah, this is a tough one, man. It's a tough one because similar sort of stature in some ways. Reach is on with Morrell, so I'm just going to go kind of more gut feeling on this one. To be honest with you, both carry power, but I'm going to go David Benavidez. To be honest with you, I think Benavidez for me wins this. I'm going to go. I mean, I was just thinking beforehand, will he get the KO, or will Morrell have enough to essentially get to the end? I look at last time out when he fought. Oh, good, I don't pronounce the name. Alexander Gnozik, the Ukrainian guy, obviously went UD there. Before that was obviously battering people down the super middle. I'm wondering how he's kind of taken to the weight now. Obviously having a bit more time in there, Benavidez. I wonder whether he can maybe stop Morrell. Um, but I'm actually going to go points. I think I'm leaning slightly towards points, but Benavidez in a fairly convincing kind of 8-4 points victory.
Interesting, mate. Yeah, I'm going for David. That's all we've got time for folks. No, I'm only joking. Yeah, I agree with you. Benavidez wins this for me. I think Morrell's a very capable fighter and is a big puncher himself. He's only 26. He's Cuban. He's a southpaw. He's gonna be awkward. I just think David Benavidez is pretty special. I think Morrell's been superb and obviously had that regular title, the WBA regular title at super middle. But when you actually look at Benavidez's body of work, as you mentioned, all mostly at super middle, but like battered Demetrius Andrade, David Lemieux, and Burrell, beat Caleb Plant. Then stepped up first fight at light heavy in a while. Gavodstik, who was kind of on the comeback trail and looked like he was maybe going to go towards world honors. You think at Benavidez and we dealt with him. Obviously, it went the distance, but he fought well there. I think Benavidez wins this. I could see a stoppage. I think he's really heavy handed, David Benavidez. I think he could walk Morrell onto something and stop him mid to late. Not don't say that with any huge confidence. I wouldn't surprise me if it went the full 36, mate. I could see that for sure. Equally, if David Morrell proved me wrong, who knows? This is a big step up for him in terms of name, but he's probably been crying out for it. He's a very capable fighter and a world class fighter in his own right. But yeah, I'm with Benavidez. I'm with you, mate. I can't see anything other than a Benavidez victory, to be perfectly honest, mate. That is all we have time for, unfortunately. Guys, let us know in the comments how you see this fight playing out, whether or not David Benavidez is the man that could beat Canelo Alvarez and even Artur Beterbiev. Let us know. Hit that subscribe button, hit that
Mm.
like button, and we will speak to you again very soon. Elliot, all the best, mate. Speak to you again.
Thank you very much, Paul. And as always, guys, thank you very much for watching.